Rev up your engines!
It's been rumored that the Toyota Celica is going to come back with a turbo 2-liter engine in all-wheel drive. Mr. Toyota, he likes the idea of it, and they're not talking about it's going to be electric. They're talking about a gasoline, all-wheel drive turbo. Right? A lot of people now are realizing the electric car myth is exactly that, and if you put your money into a myth, you often lose it. Ford, GM, Stellantis, they're losing a fortune building electric cars. Billions each year. Toyota's sitting back and saying, maybe I'll bring back the gasoline cycle. People seem to like those things. Statement with Subaru and Mazda. Toyota confirmed it's working on the new 1.5 and 2-liter 4-cylinder engines before they electrify things. Yeah, they realize maybe they will electrify things in the far future, but for things today, no. Things really aren't going to be electrified. People don't want to buy them. There's no infrastructure for them, right? Common sense. They didn't fall for this nonsense and jump on the electric car bandwagon where the wheels are falling off now and then. They're all kind of like, maybe we'll go into hybrids more like Toyota did. And Toyota's even going further and said, hey, maybe we're going to make a Celica with this gasoline engine in it. Hey, I'd buy one. I think it'd be cool. And of course, with the insanity of modern cars, Toyota's talking about a 2-liter turbo that puts out 400 horsepower. That would be one screaming Celica. Gee, mine has like 130 or something like that, right? 4 times, well, they really fly. Tom Karen says, Scotty, should I change my oil before I winterize my Lexus or after? It's stored for 6 months at a time. Change your oil after. It's just sitting there for 6 months. Water vapor kind of intrudes just sitting there. Don't change it before you put it away. Change it after. Just like you might want to take your battery out. Put it on a trickle charger. Leave it out. Or put it on a trickle charger. Well, it's still in the car. You don't want to leave it for 6 months just sitting there with nothing on it. You either take the battery out and trickle charge it or trickle charge it on the car so the battery won't go flat. Sports God 05 says, Scotty, what's the best work truck for a lawn care and snow removal guy? Thanks. Okay. Well, you're going to remove snow, right? If money is tight and you're talking about buying a used vehicle, you can't find a good Tacoma, maybe you could find a Ranger or a Frontier that was 4-wheel drive and go that route. Because the Toyotas are good, but they're very expensive. Just realize that. And the Rangers and the Nissan Frontiers, they're not bad trucks, right? And you can still get some lifespan out of them. I wouldn't buy any particular American ones because they don't hold up over time. Lalo Rio says, is Rock Auto good? It depends. Okay, Rock Auto is a big online parts. You can buy parts for your cars at Rock Auto online. The thing is, they sell all kinds of stuff. They sell cheap Chinese crap, and they sell some good stuff, too. You'd have to do a lot of research on what you're going to buy before you buy something there. You want to find out, is it some Chinese piece of junk? Where was it made? What's the name of the company that makes them? You got to do a lot of research when you buy online stuff. And then a lot of times your research is useless because when it's mailed to you, it's not what they said it was, right? You go to an auto parts store, it's there. You look at it with your hands. You can take it out of the box. You can see where it's actually made. You don't get some lies. I personally am not big at online car parts buying because you don't know what you're going to get until you get it. And then if you're working on a car and it took a few days to get there, it's the wrong one, you got to send it back, yada, yada. I want my parts pretty fast. I live near big cities, so I can get car parts pretty quick from reputable places, and that's what I normally do because I don't like waiting to get the wrong thing and it's or cheaper variety of it. But like any other thing, I bought a water pump for my Toyota online, but it said it was a Toyota factory water pump. It was factory water pump. I put it on, great. And I saved a whole bunch of money buying it online, right? Even the discount auto parts stores, they wanted twice what I paid for some Chinese knockoff when I got the original made in Japan Ace one online. So you got to do research when you buy online. Tim Ogden, what's going on with the new Toyota Tundra motors? Okay, well, they went from a V8 to a V6. And it seems that when they built them, there were metal filings and pieces that were inside the engine itself. And they didn't flush all those pieces out before they put it all together, filled it with oil, and started it up. So the engines are literally blowing up. The metal pieces get stuck inside the engine, break things, and then boom. It's going to be a real stinker for Toyota because you can't fix that cheap. If you have an engine that has pieces of metal in it, maybe the engine will blow up soon, but it's damaging the engine regardless. So maybe it'll blow up 2-3 years from now, because it shouldn't have. Toyota engines should last a long time. Once there's metal fragments inside engine, the only correct thing to do is to replace the entire engine. And from what I've seen, Toyota's taking them apart, trying to see what's going on. Hey, you can't take those engines apart and fix them. There's too much damage that's been inside. If they want to do that, fine, to figure out what's wrong, but they should have to replace the engines with brand new ones for people. It will cost Toyota a fortune if they had to do that, but we'll see what happens, because I've seen people, they've had their engines taken by Toyota, they're taking them apart, seeing what's wrong, but I would not want an engine back that had metal fragments in it, because it's damaged too much stuff. Yeah, maybe they fixed the bottom part, the rod bearings. Maybe they put new rod bearings in it. Well, the cam bearings, they're going to be worn too on the top of the engine, because metal would have gotten in them. The oil goes throughout the whole engine. It's a big problem for Toyota. Governor says, Scotty, what are your thoughts on a 2009 Kia? 175,000 kilometers in Canada, Saskatchewan. What should I look for before buying? It'll be a work vehicle. I am not a Kia fan. Let's say you can get it cheap enough and it still runs okay. You never know. My tax accountant in Houston had a Kia. She drove it for like 8 years, and then it had about 90,000 miles. It started falling apart, and she got rid of it. If you can get it cheap enough, it might be okay. You say it's going to be a work vehicle, right? The thing you got to worry about with those things are, one, does it burn oil, and is the transmission in good shape? Have a guy like me checks out with a fine-tooth comb the engine and the transmission before you even think about buying it. Nigel Thompson says, Scotty, what car would be a good first car for a teenager like me? A 2018 Kia Sportage or a 2020 Honda Civic? Which is good and why? The Civic by far. You're going to pay more for the Civic, but the Hondas are well made. They can last a really long time. Korean cars, Kia, Hyundai, you name it, they aren't that well made. They don't last that long in the long run. And a Honda Civic can go 2, 3, 400,000 miles or more. You're much better. Even though you're going to pay more for that Honda, it's a better vehicle, right? And since it's your first car, realize this. They're both used cars, right? You're going to buy a used car, you got to have a mechanic like me. Find a good mechanic to check it out before you buy it. You can't trust anybody. They could be wrecked, flooded, stolen, who knows? And a mechanic with his fancy scan tool within an hour can tell you if it's a good car or a bad car. Win for Work Group says, Scotty, what's your opinion on an 83 Mercedes 300D? 5-cylinder turbo diesel with 200,000 miles. I plan on daily driving it. Okay, well, it's old as the hell. It's what? 10, 20, 30, 41 years old. That's an old car. Now, those diesels were well made. Those engines can really run. If somebody really took care of that thing, you got to have a guy like me check it out before you even think about buying it, because we can tell you in 20 minutes, listening, driving it, no, the tranny's going out. It's not worth it. No, the engine's going to burn a ton of oil. It's just worn out. We'll tell you what kind of shape it's in. Now, you don't overpay. Hey, it's a 41-year-old vehicle. It's old. They can run, but being that old, you're going to have to change brake parts, rubber hoses. Anything that's rubber is going to leak because it's so old. You'll have to pull the engine and transmission out, put all new seals in. If you don't want oil leaking all over the place, you might think twice about buying a car that old. Unless you don't mind an oil leaker that leaks all over the place and smells. Those old diesels do stink. Road test it before you buy it, at least. One of you sent me this picture. It's hilarious. Electric cars charging in 1907, okay? It failed in 1907. What makes people think that today it's not going to fail? Hey, it was tried and it would fail for various reasons that still exist today, right? Range, how long do the batteries last, right? Where are you going to charge it when you're on the road? They tried 107 years ago and it didn't work. Why the heck do they think it's going to work now? The analogy to me are these wind turbines, right? Windmills went out of vogue in the 1800s because they're inefficient. They only go when the wind's blowing. They don't create that much energy. I mean, there's windmills here that are tourist attractions down Rhode Island. I've seen them all. They're cool looking, right? Then you see, this thing's working all day, and all it makes is a few bushels of ground corn. So they're not the most efficient things on earth, right? So why are we doing that? Well, I don't know, because there's stupid people out there, right? Windmills, electric cars. Let's all be tilting at windmills like Don Quixote. Realize that was a fictional story now. But now they're trying to make it reality. I don't think it's going to work out all that well. Pete says, I got a 2020 Elantra, 120,000 miles. I hear rhythmic hum on the passenger front when I move. I'm thinking it's a CV axle or hub assembly going bad. If it is a hub assembly, are there any reliable ones? The problem is it's your front wheel bearing. If it was your rear one, you can buy the hub assembly. The front one is part of the whole axle assembly. The struts on there, the hub's there. You got to press it in and out. It's a pain in the butt. You're better paying a mechanic on that. Unless you got a machine press to work on, 10-ton machine press or up, it's a real pain changing the bearings on that particular design. Check, maybe it's brakes or grinding or something, but if it is, you're going to have to change the bearing, and it's a job. If it was the back ones, you can just bolt the hubs on and off simple, but the front ones are different. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.